In the world of Disney villains, some are cruel, some are cunning, but only one is spoken of like a legend, whispered by frightened kingdoms, and that's Maleficent. The mistress of all evil didn't just curse a princess, she brought an entire kingdom to its knees for one reason: power, pride, and a deep political insult the royal court never fully understood. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of Disney's Maleficent, the real reason behind her curse, the ancient magic of her dominion, the lore Disney hid in plain sight, and why she remains one of the darkest and most dangerous villains ever created. So settle in, because Maleficent's story doesn't begin with a curse, it begins with a kingdom that underestimated the wrong fairy. The shadow beyond the kingdom. Long before Aurora was born, Maleficent ruled a forbidden domain known only as the Forbidden Mountain, a towering fortress overlooking the human lands she kept at a distance. The animated film offers little backstory and dialogue, but the imagery says everything: green hellfire, jagged spires, and an army of goblins and goons who treat her like royalty. Disney animators described her as a dark fairy of unimaginable power, a supernatural being who wasn't merely evil. She operated above human politics, feared by kings and queens, and respected by creatures of night. In early production notes from the 1950s, Maleficent was labeled the queen of all that is wicked, and her very presence was meant to feel ancient, older than the kingdom itself. Meaning, Maleficent wasn't a random villain. She was a force, someone you invited to every major royal event, not because you wanted her there, but because you feared what would happen if you didn't. The court's fatal mistake. And then the day came that the royal family made a fatal error. They held a christening for Princess Aurora, a symbolic moment announcing the heir to the throne. Every noble, every ally, every magical entity was invited to bless her. Everyone except one: Maleficent. Now, the movie frames it as an oversight, but in the context of medieval politics and the way Maleficent responds, it's far more severe. This wasn't a missed party invitation, it was a public humiliation. A statement that the royal family believed they no longer needed to acknowledge her power. Imagine Queen Grimhild snubbed, Ursula denied tribute, and Frollo disrespected by the court. Those villains would have reacted violently, but none of them wielded the kind of ancient, supernatural authority Maleficent had. Disney designed her to react not just with anger, but with judicial finality. When she appears at the christening, slow, elegant, and uninvited, she isn't throwing a tantrum, she's issuing a sentence. Her curse is a verdict, a warning. You don't embarrass the mistress of all evil. You don't remove her from the political structure without paying a price. And that's why she lets Aurora live until her 16th birthday. This wasn't about murder, it was about dominance. Maleficent wanted the kingdom to watch their heir grow, laugh, and hope, knowing the end was coming. And it's knowing it was entirely their fault. That's not random cruelty, that's calculated revenge. The curse that broke a kingdom. From the moment she cast the curse, the kingdom is trapped in her shadow. The entire society reorganizes itself around the fear of a spinning wheel. Every wheel is burned, the princess is hidden away, and in a sense, Maleficent rules the kingdom from afar for 16 years. Her ravens scour the land, her minions hunt tirelessly. Her dark magic swirls over every decision the royal family makes. The throne is still occupied, but the real power, the psychological power, belongs to her. And Disney animators confirm this. In interviews from the time, Marc Davis explains that Maleficent's green flames were designed to represent corrupting influence, creeping slowly over the kingdom as Aurora's 16th birthday approaches. She isn't just waiting for the spell to take effect, she's savoring the slow collapse of the kingdom's hope. This is why Maleficent is so often called Disney's most sinister villain as well. Not because she's loud or because she's violent, but because she plays the long game and wins until the very end. The Dragon Within. When Aurora is finally lured to the spindle in a scene that feels more like ritual than accident, Maleficent makes her final move. The three fairies rescue Philip, but Maleficent is ready. And then, in one of the darkest animated moments in Disney history, she transforms into a dragon. Marc Davis stated that this transformation wasn't meant to be an illusion. It was meant to reveal her true form, the essence of her power. A demon dragon born of hellfire and hatred. Where other villains rely on weapons, manipulations, or tricks, Maleficent becomes the monster. And even then, she doesn't scream, she doesn't panic, she only maintains regal control until the moment she falls. And her death is not explosive, it's tragic. A titan that was defeated, and a kingdom released from a nightmare. By the way, if you made it this far into the video, that already tells me something huge. You're enjoying this deep dive video as much as I loved making it. So if you haven't already, consider liking the video and subscribing so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you, and let's continue. Maleficent's legacy in Disney parks. Maleficent's presence in the parks is iconic. Her dragon form appears in Fantasmic at Disneyland and Hollywood Studios, the Festival of Fantasy Parade as the fire-breathing steampunk dragon, and on projection shows at the Cinderella Castle. The dragon float became so popular that even after its infamous fire accident in 2018, Disney rebuilt it because guests demanded its return. No other villain has a park presence on this scale. Her influence across media. Maleficent is one of the only Disney villains to star in major film reinterpretations, including the 2014 and 2019 live-action films, where she takes on a morally complex role. Even though our video is focusing on animation, her live-action presence reinforces just how culturally powerful she is. And of course, she also makes appearances in the Kingdom Hearts franchise, House of Mouse, Descendants, and dozens of books, merchandise lines, and theatrical shows. But in every adaptation, she has one consistent trait: power, control, regality, and sinister elegance. Even when rewritten as sympathetic, the world still knows her as the ultimate villain. Why Maleficent is Disney's most sinister villain. So what makes Maleficent truly sinister? It's not the curse, the dragon form, or even the dark magic. It's her authority. She doesn't behave like a villain trying to topple a kingdom, nor does she behave like someone who already outranks it. She is the only Disney villain who treats royalty as beneath her, punishes disrespect with political level vengeance, controls a kingdom psychologically for 16 years, and transforms into a supernatural being as her true form. She is not mad like the Queen of Hearts, nor manipulative like Lady Tremaine, nor power-hungry like Jafar. Maleficent is something rarer: a dark sovereign, a ruler without a kingdom, and a fallen god in fairy form. And that, more than any spell or dragon or curse, is what makes her Disney's most sinister villain. And that brings us to the end of the untold story of Maleficent, a villain whose history stretches beyond the castle walls, beyond the curse, and into something mythic, regal, and terrifyingly powerful. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Maleficent deserves the title of Disney's most sinister villain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, thank you for watching.